Hey everybody, and welcome back to Malika on the Move. I am Malika, and today I am here to tell you all about the process that I used in relocating to Merida, Mexico. And hopefully I can give you some good little tips that will help to make your transition a little smoother if you plan on coming to Merida, Mexico yourself. So let's get right to it. So the very first thing, of course, that I did before I actually started the preparations to move to Merida, Mexico is I did my research. I looked at a lot of blogs, I looked at Wikipedia to learn all about the area, and I also looked at YouTube. Now, as I said before in a previous video, there are a ton of wonderful content creators out there, but one particularly stood out to me, and this gentleman offers a relocation service. So there are multiple reasons why he stood out to me. For one, when I thought about the home search process, I'm very resourceful and I'm independent. I really don't like to ask people to do things for me. I just, do my research, know what I need to do, and get it done. But as I get older, I tend to want people to do things for me. And I want to do as less work as possible, especially because I'm retired. I don't want to do nothing as far as, work is concerned. I just want to sit back and go along for the ride and let you do the work. So I looked at a lot of his videos, and he does have a plethora of videos. And one thing I noticed is he has placed a lot of people, or helped a lot of people relocate to Merida, Mexico. As far as assistance and finding them housing, he has videos where he's went along with them during the process, made videos. He's shown you these homes that they have for rent, what they're renting for price-wise. He has the knowledge of what price ranges that the landlords are requesting, whether they're too much for that area or too much for that property. Whether the area is not necessarily a good area. The house might look nice, but the area's not that good in terms of like the power goes out all the time, or the area floods and the water doesn't go down for a couple days, or there's a lot of bugs that you're gonna have to deal with, or a lot of barking dogs. So he definitely has this knowledge, and he appeared, prior to me meeting him, to be very down to earth. Not an arrogant guy, not a braggadocious guy, not one that's gonna try to push his opinions on you, but listen to your needs and help you find a place according to what you really want. And that was very important to me. So this gentleman's name is Cartess Ross, C-A-R-T-E-S-S. And his YouTube channel and his website is called Move Abroad and Thrive. Now, let me say this. You don't need his services. If you want to put in the legwork, you can do it all on your own. You can go around to the different colonias and look around to see what, is in that area. You can go look at houses on your own, find you an agent that will give you a list of homes. A lot of the owners put big signs right on the front of the property that says C Renta, and they will have the WhatsApp phone number up underneath. You can call them and set up an appointment yourself. You don't need a relocation service. But as I said, all I wanted to do was go along for the ride and have all of that work done for me. So prior to me coming here, I contacted Mr. Ross. We did a 1-hour phone consultation where he explained how the process works. I told him all of my needs, and make sure you're clear, because that's what he's going to base the homes that he's going to send you, listings that he's going to send you, is based on your needs. So be clear on what you really want, whether it's a house, townhouse, apartment, condo, what type of area you want to live in, traditional Mexican, or you don't mind living in a cookie cutter suburb, Pravada, whether you want to be close to the action, whether you're in the center of the action, whether you want to be further out in a really quiet neighborhood where your kids can ride their bikes without worrying about traffic, and things like that. So we did the 1-hour phone consultation, and then I went to his website. I paid his fee for his services, and maybe about a week before I was to come to Merida, he sent like a ton load of home listings based on my stated requirements. And I went through the list and was like, yeah, I'll look at this. No, I don't want to look at that, et cetera, et cetera. And he always told me, you know, there's more out there, so you're not necessarily limited to what I've just sent you, but this is, you know, for now. So, yeah, I was really pleased with the service. And like I said, when you meet him in person, personality-wise, he is exactly the same as he is on the videos. He's not fake on his videos. He's a very down-to-earth guy, very funny, very easy to talk to, easy to get along with. So to me, felt like this service was an invaluable service for me. So the next thing I did, because I knew that I wanted to start the process to get my temporary residency card, is I made an appointment with the Mexican consulate to start the process to get my temporary residency card. Now, just so you know, each location, they're not all, I don't know about each location, but they're not all on the same page. One may have higher financial requirements than the other. One may tell you that you can get your visa the same day. One may tell you it's 10 working days for you to get your visa. So, you know, you're gonna have to be flexible, and they all don't have appointments available because for some reason there tends to be a busy season for that. So I don't know if it was when I was applying, but the locations that I wanted when I initially looked did not have any appointments available. So when you go on the website and you pull a state down that you may want to go to from the drop-down box, you get all of the locations. They'll be in like these little squares, and they will tell you right at the bottom of each square the services that they offer. If you don't see visas in that square at that location, then that means they're not offering visas at that moment. They may say, like, you know, passports, marriage licenses, or whatever, but if they don't say visas, you're not getting a visa there. So even though they may have offered them last week or the month before, or somebody else you know went to that location, if you don't see it there, you're not getting it there right then. But let me tell you this. Each location reloads their available appointments at different times during the month. Like I said, they're not all the same. So it benefits you to go back and check. Make an appointment somewhere maybe that you don't want to go, just to have an appointment, just in case. And then keep checking back, and maybe the place that you really want to go to will open up. So also know, you have to go on the actual website for the consulate of the place that you make an appointment, because each one may have different requirements. For instance, like I said, there may be a different financial requirement. Also, one may say you need 12 months worth of bank statements. Another may say you only need 6 months worth of bank statements. One may say you need 12 months and they need to be certified by the bank. They need to have the bank signature, the bank stamp on them. One of them may not care and let you print them off on your home printer. Make sure you pay attention to that. So my initial appointment was in Chicago. I did not want to go to Chicago, period. But I didn't want to go to that particular location because they said right on their website, visas will be issued within 10 business days, and there is no exceptions. But I made the appointment anyway because that was the only one that I could find other than like the West Coast, and I knew I didn't want to go that far. I was in Birmingham, Alabama at the time. So maybe about a week later, I think, maybe a week and a half, I went back and I saw Orlando had opened some appointments up, so I made an appointment in Orlando. I canceled the Chicago appointment. Now, Orlando said the same thing. Orlando said visas will be issued within 10 days, no exceptions. Okay, I didn't want to do that, but I kept that appointment. So I checked back again a third time with my fingers crossed. Sure enough, New Orleans opened. Now, I wanted either initially anyway, Atlanta, which was a 2-hour drive from Birmingham, or New Orleans, which was a 5-hour drive. But I had never been to New Orleans before, and I just wanted to eat because I know they got good food. So there was going to be a win-win situation for me. So sure enough, New Orleans opened up. I made that appointment, and the wonderful thing about that is New Orleans said visas are typically issued the same day unless there's a problem. And I knew hopefully there won't be a problem and I can get my visa the same day. So let me tell you this, don't be like me. Like I said, read the requirements carefully. There is the application form that you need to print off and fill out. They clearly tell you, I don't know what was my problem, they clearly tell you that that must be a double-sided copy because it's 2 pages. And they want it on one piece of paper, double-sided. Me, being the weirdo that I am, I printed 2 pieces of paper. And not only did I do that, but I threw the second page away because I felt that it didn't apply to me, right? So don't be like me, because the lady that I had was very, very nice. But I'm gonna tell you, she did check me on it. She was like, this paper is supposed to be double-sided. And I stood there looking stupid, like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what happened. So she was nice enough to go get me a blank form and tell me to fill it out real quick. You also do need to, once you get that appointment confirmation, they send you an email, a confirmation of your appointment. You need to print that out and bring it with you as well because they're gonna want it. So I went to my appointment. Everything went smoothly after my little mishap with the piece of paper. Took maybe about an hour for me to spend with this lady, to get called and to spend with the lady. She told me to come back in an hour so her supervisor can look over my paperwork and approve it or not approve it. And I came back in an hour and boom, my passport was ready and it was done. Now, she reiterated to me, which I'm gonna reiterate to you, when you come through the immigration line at the airport, make sure you have your passport open to the page that has that big square temporary visa sticker inside of it, so that immigration officer does not stamp you in as a tourist, because you're not a tourist. You are now technically like a temporary resident. So you want him to see that and know that so he can process you in appropriately. Now, once you get that from the U.S. consulate, the Mexican consulate in the U.S., you have 6 months to enter the country of Mexico. And once you get here, you have 30 days to go to the immigration office in Mexico to complete the process and get your ID card. And we will talk about that now. So I met up with Mr. Ross. We did our thing. We went looking for homes. He showed me the different neighborhoods. He told me the pros and cons of every neighborhood that we looked in. And I picked a house. I think I picked a house the first day. I'm not one of those type of people that I'm gonna take weeks to look at homes and I'm gonna look at 30 houses. I get frustrated. I need it to happen. So I did find a wonderful home and I picked it. So we'll talk about that in a future video, the process of what you need to do when you do find a place that you like and you want to go about renting that place. So when it came to finishing my temporary residency process, now here we go again. You're going to have some people that are going to tell you, you don't need an attorney. And the truth of that is, no, you don't. You do not need an attorney. You can go down there and do this whole process on your own. But for me, I thought that process was a very valuable service. So I'm going to tell you how that went, and I'm also going to include the name of the attorney that I used down in the description box as well, just in case you're interested in that. Now, a lady told me in the airport that I happened to run into getting ready to get on the flight, and her and her husband were on their way to Merida to scope it out just to see if it was going to be somewhere that they wanted to move, but to also complete their process while they were here. And she told me, she said, I've heard that, or everybody keeps telling me that you will be in line just as long as the people that don't have an attorney. It's not a shorter process. It's a waste of money because you're going to stand in line all day anyway. Okay. Well, let me tell you how my process went. So my appointment was on a Wednesday. Monday morning, the attorney contacted me and asked me to send a copy of my passport page, you know, with the photo and your information, and also a photo of the visa that they put inside of my passport. And then Monday evening, he came to my home. All of the paperwork that needed to go to the immigration office here was already filled in with all very neatly typed in with all of my information. And they're all in Spanish, by the way. So if you don't speak Spanish, you're gonna need somebody to translate these forms before you go putting your signature on them. You don't know what they say. So he told me what all these forms were, or what they said, and I signed my name on all the pieces of paper. He took my passport and he said, I will see you Wednesday. Wednesday morning came. He met me at the immigration office with a chair, a folding chair, so I did not have to stand up, which was a wonderful touch because I don't like to stand. And he told me, he said, we are just here. Your paperwork is finished. We are just here for photos and fingerprints, nothing else. So he explained to me the process. He said a guard will come out and separate us into groups. So sure enough, I waited in line, excuse me, I waited in line about 30 minutes, no more than 30 minutes, and a guard came out and he said, everybody who is here for fingerprints and photos, make a line over here. Well, I was the second person in that line. So we stood outside about 10 more minutes and then the guard let us inside. When you get in, you sign like a ledger book with your name, I think maybe your phone number and your nationality. Then you go to another desk and pick up a number and you go sit down in the chairs. And then it's like the DMV type thing where it's like number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. And then there's that screen for the photos, the backdrop. So the lady that was in front of me, she processed, and there was something wrong with her paperwork. So it took maybe 20, 25 minutes for her to get finished. I think if her paperwork had been in order, she would have gotten up sooner. But when it was my turn, it took about 15 minutes for that lady to go through the computer, look at the paperwork that was already in the computer for me, to see if it was all in order. She took my photograph, she went and got my ID card, and I was out the door. No all day process. I didn't stand in line all day. I was in line 40 minutes, okay? And I was literally in and out that immigration office over and done with no more than an hour and 15 minutes. That line outside in that hot sun had to be maybe about 50 people going down the whole sidewalk and into like this little driveway thing. And then they had a tent with chairs in it, I'm assuming for people that are like elderly or handicapped. But nah, I don't know what this lady at the airport was telling me or what people have been telling her. And maybe some attorneys don't offer this, but I don't know what mine did, and I don't care. All I know is my process was quick and it was worth the money. So you can take that however you want to take it. You can make your own decisions on what you want to do, whether you want to go down there on your own, not pay any extra money, process all your stuff, excuse me, yourself, fill out your paperwork, print your paperwork off. And we see, because when the guy called the line for photos and fingerprints to stand over here in the second line, he said it in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. So he would have been calling people for that line. I wouldn't have known what he said. And I would have had to ask somebody what he said. Hopefully they can tell me. And then by then, there might have been 5 or 6 people in line in front of me, but I was number 2. So let me back up and tell you about the airport. Excuse me, I just put a piece of candy in my mouth. My mouth is dry. Okay. Dang. So usually, some countries will give you a customs and immigration form on the plane. We didn't get one. Some countries don't even use them anymore. So I'm figuring they don't use them, but they do. Now, one thing you need to know as a traveler, always have an ink pen. Always have 2 ink pens, because you're gonna need them if you go to a country that you have to fill out these forms. Like I said, sometimes they'll give them to you on the plane, and as they're descending, you'll be filling out your paperwork. But they're not gonna provide ink pens for you to fill out these papers that they require you to have. And don't expect other people that were on that flight that are standing there filling their paperwork out to let you use their ink pen, because I've seen that happen before. I think when I was in Morocco, people were walking around asking people could they use their ink pen there, but it was like, nope. So make sure you have an ink pen. So they didn't even tell us, you need this form, you can get it from this person standing over here passing these forms out. This guy just appears out of nowhere, but he's behind me, so I don't even see him. All I see is people now mysteriously standing there with waiting for their baggage with forms in their hands. So I'm like, where y'all get that from? And there's the guy in the back. So I go and I get a form. By then my ink pen had busted in my hand, so I got ink all over my hands. It was a fiasco. I filled out my paperwork, and because I had 6 bags, the line for the customs had gotten really long. So I went through the immigration, got in the customs line, and I noticed that the people in the beginning of the line that was up there talking to the customs agents were being told to leave the line and go get in this other line that had started to form at this little booth. And I'm thinking, like, what is that about? Well, I asked somebody, and they told me, oh, they have laptops. So I'm assuming, I don't know what it is about the laptop. Maybe they want to inspect it. But they made people with laptops go get in a different line. No matter how long they had been standing in that customs line, they had to get out the line and go get in another line to do whatever they was going to do with the laptop. Now, did I have a laptop? Did I lie? Because I wasn't getting out the line. So I got to the customs agent, and he asked me, I don't know what questions he asked me. It was a couple prior to asking me about the laptop. But I'm assuming they were like, how long are you going to be in Mexico, or why did you come to Mexico? But he said, do you have a laptop? And he asked me again. He said, are you sure you don't have a laptop? No, I don't. It was right there in my carry-on bag. Had this man said, open the bag, y'all, I don't know what I would have did. I don't know what kind of stupid I could have played, but I was gonna try it because, I don't know, I just didn't want to get out that line, y'all. I just didn't. I really didn't. I had enough going on with the ink all over my hands and the 6 bags, and I was hot because I ain't got no air conditioning there. And I just wanted to get done and get where I had to go. Don't be like me. Don't lie, because you might get caught. And then you be like, well, Malika did. Nope, Malika ain't do nothing. So that's it in a nutshell. I hope that something that I offered in this video will help you. With that said, like I said, I hope I helped you. Until we meet again, you guys keep moving. Bye, y'all.